Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. Hi, and welcome to the Wake.Show. Good morning, everybody. The Wake.Show, Monday through Friday, 11:11 to 12:12. I'm only 6 minutes late today. Not only that, not only am I late today, but I also, I have come ill prepared. For the first time ever, I don't know how this happens. Well, I know that I'm half an idiot. I know that part about me. Hey, Randy. Hey, Johnny. Elliot, Max, my wife, Mark. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake.Show. If you're wondering what the Wake.Show is, it is a show where, we talk about the issues of the day and do the best not to get too worked up about it, either, depressed or angry. And at the end of it all, remind ourselves that we have very little control over what's happening in the news, and that the more worked up we get about what's in the news, it's more likely, more telling about something that's going on with us. And we use the stuff in the news, the people in the news, to project on and say, and Johnny Bell, I was listening to you last night, buddy. I was coming home from a gig way too late. I shouldn't have been listening to you. I should have already been home in bed. But it was 10 o'clock. Is that me or you that's dinging?
That's you.
All right. And it's going to be my wife reminding me to tell everybody about the Wake.Pups. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't forget.
Is that what it said?
Yes.
That's funny.
Don't forget to mention their Instagram. We need to put more. We need to populate it. See here. All right. So here's the argument right now between me and my wife. Well, it's not really an argument. This morning she goes, this is what she says to me. Why do you refuse? Hold on, let me get you. I'm afraid to mess it up, or, do this, even though I like this camera angle a lot better. Because yesterday, all of a sudden it went blurry and I could not get it back. But, so Sam, here, she says today, why do you refuse to talk about their new Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Well, today's only Wednesday, so I forgot on Monday and Tuesday. But it immediately goes to some level that we're at war. And why did you refuse? Why are you refusing to talk about why even have it? I'm like, settle down. I don't remember shit. Well, you're better going to remember. I go, this is me. This is what you married. All right. I don't remember shit, period. So this is why. So now go to the Wake. Here's.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't. Okay,
the Wake.Pups.
The Wake.
You should be able to search it.
Yeah.
Or Wake. Maybe it's Wake.Pups.
I was going to say the Wake.Pups doesn't come up with anything.
I just put Wake.Pups.
All right. Let's see.
So and also here's another thing too. One of the other reasons why it's not in the front of my brain to let you guys know about it, because there was like two pictures there, and. After I reminded you before each show, I know, honey, you remind me every day about so many things, and I'm too much of a fucking moron to remember anything. Sorry. It's what you married. What's that?
Okay, so it has an actual dot in it. The Wake.Show Instagram does not have a dot in it, so I wrote out the word dot. So it's actually the Wake _pups, and that's the Instagram. I
wonder why we didn't do that on Instagram for the Wake.Show.
I am not sure.
Huh. So anyway, I'm a moron. I can't remember things. Hi, Candy. Hey, Lisa. And another thing, one of the reasons why it's not in the front of my mind either is because to me it's not ready to go. There's two pictures, I think, as of this morning. Three. There's three. Elliot says, forgetting dog Instagrams is currently the leading cause of divorce in San Francisco.
Oh, no.
That's awesome. So, in my head, I'm like, well, let's populate the page before we launch it, before I start talking about it. Her thought is, no, it needs to be just tell people, and we'll start posting stuff. It'll all be new. And I'm like, no, people are going to go there now. There's 3 GD photos. Let's put together the last, if we got 50 or 100 that we are really cool photos that people go, let's put a bunch of stuff up there and then start promoting it. But of course, I'm the husband in the relationship, so the nagging will not end until the wife in the relationship gets what she wants. So what is the point of posting pictures if there's no one there to see them? See, she and I see things very differently here, because you put all the pictures there. Then when people start to go, they've got a lot to look at. Oh, look at all those cute ones. At least, I'm thinking, well, all right, Sam, not that you need to settle any arguments here. I can handle my own shit as long as I have headphones on, a microphone, and I'm speaking to my wife through the internet. I can communicate just fine. So, how do you see it?
I think that it's important to build your audience up, even if you only have a couple of photos, because then you get more traction on those photos, and then people are going to be like, when's the next picture coming out? When are we going to see Roxy and Joey again? So I think that you should already build up an audience, even if you only have a couple of photos.
All right. But do you think that we should just, it should be from here moving forward? Or do we, hold on. Max is texting me. There might be a technical issue. Hold on a second here. Oh my God. I thought for a second he'd be like, hey, you guys are because I think we are. Check. Pegging a little bit there. Holy smokes. Let me show you guys this. This is a Max watching the show today on his big screen television.
That's awesome.
My big old giant head. This is why that camera can't stay in focus. I keep doing stuff like that to it. I'm sorry, camera. Come back. Hold on. I'm right here. You can do it. Focus in. I've already ruined the camera for the day.
It's all right.
No, it's not.
It's going to be all right.
It's not.
That's what I'm here for, is to tell you that it's going to be all right.
Sam?
Yes.
Is that partly why you're here?
Partially,
This is
yes.
part of the words from Chords. Listen, he can get a little anxious. He can get a little worked up over things. Just make sure that...
we all care about you. We just want to make sure you're going to be all right.
Make sure that he doesn't start...
hyperventulating. Yeah. It's all right.
Keep him away from the sharp objects in there. Look at this. This is ridiculous. All right, so let's switch to this one here. I want to try this. Oh, wait, there we are. Stay with me. All right.
All right.
Maybe I don't know.
Problem solved.
But who looks back at 100 photos? I do whatever. Randy says I can do whatever I want as long as my wife says it's okay. I'm learning more and more that. Well, the thing is that every man who's ever been married has tried to teach me that along the way. That's just the way it is, and you're not going to be happy until you learn. What is it they always say? Until you learn, like yes, dear, and something, I don't know, something along those lines. You're not going to be happy. And to me, that's complete bullshit, right? And one of the reasons, one of many reasons why I had not gotten married up until this point, because I'm like, that is just complete nonsense. And I'm too narcissistic. I can't help it. If you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist. Now, obviously, I'm not on the grand spectrum of narcissism. I'm not up there in the narcissistic personality disorder, although I think I can have bouts with it. Because the fact of the matter is, and for those of you in mental health, you're probably already yelling at your TV screen. Well, if you're truly a narcissist, then you wouldn't know, because narcissists cannot see that they're narcissists. Well, there is some truth to that. I don't know in my soul. Like, I can't tell when I'm being narcissistic. It just happens. But I've been able to see myself through other people's lenses enough, and able to weigh out certain things in my life to go, oh, you definitely got a streak of narcissism in you. So it's not easy to compromise sometimes. And but my wife is wonderful. We've been together. I mean, we've been married for over a year, been together over 5 years previous to that. And I wouldn't want to do life with anybody else, even though I'm still trying to figure out the best way to make us happy. And I fear the only way to make us happy is to make her happy, and then somehow it comes back to me. You shrug your shoulders. Yeah, why don't you give it a try? Why don't you just try thinking about your wife all the time instead of yourself? Well, it's easier said than done. Jen and I will be married 20 years in June. I'm living proof. Randy, I love you guys. Thank you so much for that kind of stuff, too. Well, by the way, if this is the worst of our fights, that I'm not promoting our new Instagram for our dogs that has 3 pictures on it enough, then I feel like we are doing okay after year 1. Sam, you ready for some on this day before we get to stuff you should know today?
Yeah.
As you guys can see, the TV is not on behind me. I don't know how this happened, but I walked out of the house with my computer back today. So I can't show you. Well, I'm not using this camera to show you the picture, doing what I did before, but I got to show you something. Oh, a couple things. Oh, I'm going to go through my... Listen, you're not getting away from my personal life. I'm sorry.
Oh, these are good pictures of Roxy and Joey. I would recommend.
All right, so so that's the Instagram?
This is the Instagram. Do you want to see him?
Yeah. I'm going to hold him up to this camera over here because I'm going to hold him up because I don't want to chance. So here.
There's only those 3.
Okay, this one's from this morning. There you go. I'll show you that one. That's on the Instagram page there. See, it's
the Wake Pups on Instagram.
And that one says, we are finally home after a weekend at Grandma's house. Mom and Dad had to go to Aunt Jessie's wedding in Key Largo. And get this, it was only for humans. So silly.
Oh, that's so cute. I didn't even read that.
I laughed. That's my wife. That's my wife's doing there.
So clever.
And I laughed.
I like the first picture that they have. This is a gorgeous picture. It's a great one.
Oh, wait. Let's do this. It's not going to do it. Hold on.
You should probably do it on the big one. There you go. There they are. Oh, they look great.
That is a great picture. That's when we were at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Oh, always fun.
Yeah, and we stuck them in the cart there. They were still a little bit shaggy.
So cute.
They are. All right. Yeah, now it's not going to zoom back in on you, I don't think.
It's all right. I'll sacrifice it.
Right. So anyway, hold on a second here. I still want so I can't play Chris's thing. Oh, Chris sent some stuff. He's in Hawaii right now. I don't know that he's going to be back this Thursday and Friday. He'd gone out there because someone that's very, very close to him, a brother that he considered a brother, had passed away. And so this was the anniversary for his wife. So he went out there to be with her and her daughter during this time. And he sent a couple things, but since I can't pull it up for you, since I forgot my computer, we'll have to wait until tomorrow, and we'll share that story tomorrow as well. But here's the thing: I don't know how it is that I've gotten this far, which is something else that my wife. My wife likes to point out is she doesn't understand how I got this far without her, but if I have to carry more than 3 things out of the house, 4 things out of the house, I've got the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. Does everybody know what that is?
Yes.
Well, I don't mean the boats themselves. It's this. It's this Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I have no idea where that came from. But if I don't feel something in those 3 pockets, I guess that's an OCD trick there. If I don't find something in those 3 pockets, then I know something is missing, right?
My boyfriend does that too, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I don't know where the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria came from. It's just some I don't know. But anyway, so that was all good, today. And then there's the latest, and I don't add a boat. The Mayflower, but it's my book bag, right? I never leave the house without that in the morning. But I don't know what it is. I think it's because I left with a bag in my hand that was my lunch, my food, that it registered that I had everything. But let me tell you, I want to let you in on a little bit of crazy. Of course you do, Chris. Of course you do. You're going to have to post this one too.
Is it a good picture? Oh, the little baby.
Yeah. Oh, Roxy. I couldn't bring him in today. Oh, by the way, do you guys know anything about plasma TVs? Do you know anything about plasma TVs, Sam?
I mean, not anything more than the average person.
Do you know if you can replace the bulb in it, or if it's one of those things where you have, because all of a sudden, this TV that was I got in 2012, it's a plasma 3D LG 60-inch, and I turned it on. It just kind of went click, 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 and turned back off. The television did, and I did it a few times, and I have a feeling that it's the bulb in it has finally gone. I mean, man, that's 6 years. That's a long time.
It says it can be.
Oh, it can be?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Thank you. I probably could have.
It probably costs a decent amount, but it
probably
says you can.
Like in the $250 range, something like that?
Yeah, probably. I don't see any sort of price range, but I do see that you can do it.
Okay. All right. But here we go. So I'm going to let you in a little bit of my crazy. And I'm trying to leave the house today, and I can't because my garage door keeps doing this. All right, you ready? Hold on. Here we go. Whoop. See it? Just keeps going and going and going. So that goes on for 30 seconds. So I get out, and it goes on for another 30 seconds, and I can't get the damn thing closed for whatever reason. So I shake it. I just wipe off the lens and clear a couple of leaves that were lying there, and then it works, right? And I finally I get to work. I'm like, well, that was just weird. That was just strange. We've had some issues before when we first moved into the house, but that was after we'd get to a certain point about this high off the ground that would always stop and head back up. Come to find out, there was a little cobweb dangling that, was right in front of the sensor. So anyway. So I get to work, and I go to get out of the car and grab my bag, and my bag's not there. And I just go, and then this is how my crazy works. Oh, my house was trying to tell me I left something behind.
I mean, hey.
The universe is
like,
trying to say, hey,
don't close. You have to get this.
You're not done. You haven't completed all. You're not gonna be happy. You better sit here in this moment for a second. But I was already, starting to get a little. I was later than I wanted to be, so I wasn't, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And had I been and sat, all right, let me walk back into the house for a second and just see if everything's all right. I would have. Oh, there's my book bag, and walked out with my book bag. So there is a little bit of a peek into my crazy there. My sensors need to be realigned. Is the laser being obstructed by something? You might be right, Elliot, because this is an older house, and the garage door that's in there is, I don't know how old it is, but it is. Oh my God, it is so. I want to say embarrassingly loud when it closes. Like when I think it's my wife's parents, or I don't know. You hit the garage door. It's like it's like a song. It's a little hum as the garage door goes down. Mine, it goes. It's like you're starting up. So you found some ancient machine, and you're trying to get the damn thing to start up all the way down. And the reason that it's so like in my head is because of how often I come home late at night. And, Wednesday nights, you're coming back from Park and Rec, so it's Thursday morning for everybody else. It's 1:30 in the morning. The entire neighborhood is quiet. Oh, there's Mr. Fisher and his loud-ass garage door once again. I'm waiting for, I'm glad we don't have a homeowners association, or else they'd probably be all over me. And likely it's not as bad as I think. It's just a thing of mine. All right. Let's see here. Farmer Bill, welcome back, buddy. That's the early Da Vinci prototype garage door. You're exactly right. It feels like it. Except I think Da Vinci's would have been a little bit more efficient. All right, I think that was all the personal stuff out of the way. All me bitching about my own inadequacies. Get that out of the way. Thank you for joining the Wake.Show. We'll get into stuff you should know here. I was wondering, do you guys, when I'm reading these stories, and I'll pull up the story itself so you can read along, can you read that text, or does it come out blurry to you? Because when I was watching, I pulled the show up yesterday, and on a big screen television out at Boulevard Burgers before I was fired up trivia, or afterwards or something. Hey, whatever. And I looked up and I noticed that it was like you couldn't see anything. And then I remember Johnny Torres saying something about that early on in the show when we were first putting this thing together. So maybe me coming in today without my computer is a good thing, because that's the way I would bring up stories. And if you couldn't, Randy says usually clear. Okay, so sometimes it's not usually clear. So it also got me thinking about this setup that we have here, that technically as we put it together, I want to say it's patchwork. We like to call it a proprietary blend of technologies that got this show up and running. But in the end, there's likely a more efficient way to do what we're doing. And I should be able to, instead of taking my computer, patching it into the encoder in this whole system that we have here, and then pulling it up, I can actually, I feel like anyway, and I'll have to check this out after the show, but I feel like I can just take these links or snapshots, screenshots or whatever, and load them right into the system here, and then pull them up in a more efficient way, and a way that's a little bit more clear on your end.
That's a good idea. I
think so. I'm going to tinker with that after the show today and see what I can come up with. All right, so stuff you should know today. You will not be reading along the stories. You'll just be staring at my mug. I apologize as we go through some of the stories of the day. But let's start with On This Day in History. And unfortunately, you won't be able to...
I can, however, pull it up on my screen.
Ah, look at that. You millennials, so clever. On this day, let's see the headline for on this day in history, and every day that we go to do this, I pull it right from history.com. On this day in 1871, journalist Henry Morton Stanley begins his famous search through Africa for the missing British explorer David Livingstone. In the 19th century, Europeans and Americans were deeply fascinated by the dark continent of Africa and its many mysteries. Few did more to increase Africa's fame than Livingstone. Is that Livingstone, I presume? Is that where that comes from? Have you ever heard that before? Mr. or Dr. Livingstone, I presume?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard that before, no.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from, but I'm wondering if it's this. In August of 1865, he set out on a planned 2-year expedition to find the source of the Nile River. Livingstone also wanted to help bring about the abolition of the slave trade, which is devastating Africa's population. So this was 1871. Almost 6 years after his expedition began, little had been heard from Livingstone. James Gordon Bennett Jr., editor of the New York Herald, decided to capitalize on the public's craze for news of their hero. He sent Stanley to lead I have to keep reading this, by the way, because I'm fascinated. Because I don't know how the story ends, and because I suck at history. But I think this might end with him finding him and going, Mr. Livingstone, Dr. Livingstone, I presume. But I don't see any quote. I'm scanning right now for quotations to see if that pops out. Ah, yes, there it is. Woohoo! All right. When Stanley's caravan entered the village on October 27th, flying the American flag, villagers crowded towards the new arrivals. Spotting a white man with a gray beard in the crowd, Stanley stepped toward him and stretched out his hand. Dr. Livingstone, I presume. There it is. So that's where it comes from. All right. See, I know history. Screw you guys.
I scanned the rest of it. There's not a lot.
There's
not a lot going on today. Another plot to kill Hitler was foiled in 1943 today. But other than that, there's not a lot. Alcatraz
closes its doors on this day in 1963.
Cool.
I wonder what Napoleonic Code approved in France.
1804.
Let's see what that is. After 4 years of debate and planning, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte enacts a new legal framework for France known as the Napoleonic Code. The Civil Code gave most post-revolutionary France its first coherent set of laws concerning property. Okay, all right. I'm sure there's something interesting in there. We're just not going to delve too. On this day, the March to Selma begins. Selma to Montgomery, rather.
Yep.
Begins on this day in 1965. On this day in 1980, Carter announces the Olympic boycott. And there you go. Yep, you're right. That's about it. That's on this day. Let's get to stuff you should know. All right, and if this is your first time, thank you so much for joining the Wake.Show today. My name is Chris Fisher. I think you all know that. Consider this is my personal page. No, I guess that's not true. Some of you are history. Randy was a history minor. Hey, Randy, maybe you should do on this. Why don't you? Because he's. Wait, I don't know if I should. Divulge any of your personal information, but
don't do it.
Yeah, you're right. I won't.
Don't do it.
But what I'm saying is, once you get up in the morning and then you're feeling all right, maybe you should fire up the internet there and record an on this day in history, and we'll just plug it into the show every single day. I have a feeling it would be informative and entertaining. Yeah. I want you to do everybody else do all the bits for my show. How about that? All right, well, let's get to it. So here's how stuff you should know works for right now. We run down some of the news items of the day. It's hard to avoid all of the, crap, the politics and the what's going on in the world and this and this and this. We try to have a little balance with it. But as far as the left-wing, right-wing stuff goes, you're not going to find too much of that here. I don't claim to be a centrist because I have a feeling if I were to look up centrist, it's something. And when I thought I was an independent and I went to register as independent, then you find out that independent's not independent. It's an actual party. And if you want to consider yourself independent, like I did, then you put down no party affiliation, not independent, because independent has a party and a platform.
Correct.
Where no party affiliation is just us wishy-washy types that don't want to commit to anybody. So the way I look at things is, for those of you that are a little bit more winged minded, then come on in, join the conversation. You guys can handle the winger stuff, and I'm going to try to just if you try to take it too far to the left, I'm going to try to argue the other side. If you try to take it too far to the right, I'm going to argue the other side, just because that shit annoys me, and hopefully in turn I can annoy you a little bit too. No, that's not true. I'm sorry. Because here's the thing. If you're a winger, you don't even know you're a winger. If you're that fanatical about your beliefs on whether you're on the right or the left, you think you're in the middle, you're in the center, and that everybody else is extreme in one way or another. So to even be pointed with that commentary is ridiculous. So I should not even speak to those winged people. I should speak to Randy and Elliot and Mallory and Jason and Samantha. Bye, Samantha. Goodbye. Let's get to stuff you should know. First up, here's what you should know. Let me change that. Let me change that because it's not the Wake.Pups. Just go to Wake.Pups. There we go. On Instagram to follow our new Instagram account. So we'll be loading pictures of Roxy and Joey. Just only for those of you that are already following all kinds of dogs and pet, Instagrams and animal shelters and stuff. Go ahead and just add us to your list. If you're not one of those that care, then don't. It's okay. Let's get to the Maryland shooter. This is just the story I pulled off is from CNN. Lone resource officer quick action stopped the Maryland school shooter within seconds. Now, of course, it's not easy to bring up a story like this, and it immediately doesn't launch into right-wing, left-wing stuff, right? People digging it in, on the right. All right, this is a great, or those who are huge. I don't care. It's not that I care about or your politics doesn't mean much to me. It's that the more worked up you are over, let's say you're somebody who's a Democrat, you're on the left. So because Trump is your I don't know, your devil, right? Just like those on the right work certain, as I took phone call after phone call from them when I was doing AM talk radio. Were convinced that Hillary Clinton literally was Satan incarnate. There are those in the left that feel the same way about Donald Trump, right? So, damn, here we go again. Sorry, I'm getting too. You know what it is? I'm getting too close to the camera, and it's like, hey, buddy, back up, or I'm gonna make you all fuzzy. So. It's easy to immediately launch into the extreme side of any of these topics, okay? So this is one of them. The school shooting was over in seconds, but it could have dragged on longer and proven deadlier were it not for the rapid response of a school resource officer. When a 17-year-old gunman walked into a Maryland's Great Mills High School on Tuesday, the swift action of the school's sole resource officer, Blaine Gaskill, was instrumental in bringing the incident to a quick end. Gaskill's response was hailed as an example of exactly what a resource officer is supposed to do in such a circumstance, particularly when contrasted with the actions of the security officer in last month's shooting in Parkland, Florida. In the incident at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14th, the armed school resource deputy waited outside the school building as the school shooter gunned down students inside. Quote, he responded exactly how we train our personnel to respond, says St. Mary County's Sheriff Tim Cameron. As soon as the gunfire began, Gaskill rushed to the scene. And this is something that's different from Parkland. He fired a round at the shooter, who also fired a round at the same time. It is not yet clear whether the shooter, Austin Wyatt Rollins, was felled by the officer's bullet or if he killed himself. Deputy First Class Gaskill fired at the shooter almost simultaneously as the shooter fired. This is something we train, practice, and in reality hope would never come to fruition. This is our worst nightmare. The governor, Larry Hogan, called Gaskill a very capable school resource officer who also happened to be a SWAT team member. This is a tough guy who apparently closed in very quickly and took the right kind of action, he said. And while I think this is tragic, he may have saved other people's lives. He likely did. Now, it looks like the motives here, I don't know if it was some kind of a love triangle, but he was in a relationship with the female that he shot. And I don't know if the male that he shot it was her boy. I don't know. It looks like it. It was. It doesn't look like this is one of those. Well, I don't know. We don't know yet. I guess we still need some details to come out, because it looks like one of those things where he went in very specifically to kill one or two people. But who knows? Maybe he was just the first people they came across. It just happened to be somebody that he was in a relationship with, or maybe he was going to start with her and then see how many people he could take out before he was finally gunned down. So that is the latest. And, when it comes to the gun debate here in the country, this is something that we do have to add. I'm not a fan of guns, okay? I'm not a gun owner. I'm not a fan of guns. Man, sometimes the gun culture does bother me some, but I'm also an American. I live in America. And the foundation for this fine country is the Constitution. And it's the Second Amendment, all right? Now, I know we can argue a lot of different things, regulation, whatnot. Let's go. Let's talk about it. But at the same time, for those who are just so passionately, vehemently against it and want to do everything they can to remove guns from society, good luck. Knock yourself out. But in the meantime, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But in the meantime, we have to come up with all kinds of a multi, faceted approach to handling these mass shootings, these mass killings. At the top of that list has to be understanding the mental well-being of the world, of America right now. And people don't want to. They don't want to understand it. They just want to look at it and put it in a little category and on one side you want to just put it in some kind of anomaly, a disorder that shouldn't have happened. And so, okay, well, it shouldn't have happened. It's an anomaly. Well, let's move on. It will hopefully won't happen again. Other people look at it as evil. It's evil. And it's a force that is causing this kind of stuff. So we don't want to deal, because there's only one way to deal with it. You have to get more anti-evil. And there we go again. God damn it. Hold on a second here. I got to do something with this. Oh, there we go. The camera's back. All right, I'll talk to Cords about that after the show today, because this camera, man, it's been awesome since we started, but for some reason in the last couple of days is having its issues with staying focused. Or maybe it's the universe telling me something. Maybe I'm having issues staying focused. All right, so good for this guy. I'm sorry, I don't mean it that way. I'm happy that a resource officer was able to get there in time and thwart this thing. And it looks like he might have saved lives because he got there so quickly. So there we go. Making sure that our resource officers are the right people, because whatever happened at Parkland, something happened at Parkland. And had that initial resource officer engaged like this guy engaged, how many lives? We can't say. We can't speculate. You can't. I mean, we can, but you're not going to get any truths out of it. But the fact that you can't. Let's see. For those of you that are golfers, one of the things, when you're putting for a birdie putt or an eagle putt, right? It can't make you. You want to make sure that you hit it with enough speed so it at least has a chance to get in the hole. Because if you hit it too soft, it ends up short. It has zero chance of getting into that cup. You hit it too hard, it still has a chance, because it's at least going to get there. And who knows how it's going to hit and it could end up in the cup. Well, we don't know how exactly this would he have holed this and saved even one life? We don't know. But he never had a chance, because they waited outside for 4 minutes as children were being slaughtered. So I know there's a lot of breakdown there. This is not on one person in Parkland, but this is also very complicated because coming out of this is another huge discussion about guns, gun control, and like I said, I am not I'm not a huge activist for guns, and if guns were to go away like that, man, I'd be happy. Now listen, and please don't take that the wrong way, because some of you I know would get very worked up very quickly, because you think that I would be saying, well, just throw away the Second Amendment. No. I'd be happy if we were at a place in our history, which we're not. I don't think we are anyway. I could be wrong. Where you have the votes, 2/3 of the governors and 10/5 of the, whatever. You have to have insane numbers in order to change an amendment or to get rid of one or to whatever, right? So America's, I don't think, anywhere near that. I could be wrong because we've just had so many of these things back to back to back to back to back to back to back that people could be, but I don't think it's enough of them because there are still too many people on the other side that it doesn't matter. We could have a mass shooting every single day, deaths every single day, and it would register the same way in their head. Well, if everybody was armed, it wouldn't be like this. If everybody was armed, sorry, I don't want to hear your bullshit. If everybody had a gun, all the good guys had a gun, it wouldn't be like this. So I don't think we're in a time where we're going to see much movement there, but we'll see. That being said, I'm not the biggest fan, but we have to be realistic in our approach to this, making sure that there's more. I'm going to get his rank down, but the deputy first class Gaskell, get more of those types of people on school grounds. Do it. Get more people with a real solid understanding of mental health, especially in the development of children as they become adults. Get more of those people on campus. And this is a multi-pronged attack, I guess, trying to figure out how to keep our kids safe, ourselves safe. And there's also, I think, and I don't know if I need to go down this path at all, but I also think there is some I hate doing this. It can so easily be taken out of context. But because of the times that we live in, there is this, and I know some of you have heard me say this before, there's a certain hyper social evolution that is taking place. And with that comes a lot of stresses on humanity, on our collective psyche. And so where I'm going with this is a lot of this could be predicted. From my view, a lot of this could be predicted in times like these, that you would see an uptick in stuff like this. But I'm not suggesting that you just sit back and go, well, this is just the way it is. Let's do nothing about it. That's not the way things work either. It may be the way things are, but it doesn't mean we can't work on it. We can't alter, the trajectory a little bit. All right, let's move on to something a little bit more light. The Austin bomber. Bombing suspect dies after blowing himself up by police. Let's grab a couple of Facebook comments before we move on. The SRO did it right. Let me back up. Trump isn't smart enough to be Satan. Oh, geez. The SRO did it right. All over an ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend. Chris, don't you know the camera loves you? Oh, yeah, I can tell. It's all blurry. Many of us understand we just want less violence in this divided, sensitive nation. And that's the thing, is there's just so much friction going on. I mean, maybe that's the best way to put it, is there's just so much of this, underlying, where it's not necessarily out in the open, but we can all feel it, that when you get a lot of this, like tectonic plates, the more earthquakes and volcanic eruptions you're gonna have. All right, the Austin. Oh, geez. Let's go ahead and just run through some of this stuff. The suspected serial bomber who terrorized Austin with a string of exploding packages died early Wednesday after detonating an explosive device in his vehicle as police closed in on him. Austin, do you think this is the only guy? Do you think this was a network of people, or at least a couple of guys that were working together? Or do you think this was one guy that did this all themselves? Austin police and the FBI tracked him to a hotel parking lot in Round Rock, about 18 miles north of Austin, where they found him inside his vehicle. Officers wanted to wait for tactical units to arrive before engaging the suspect, but he started to drive away. The man stopped on the side of the Interstate 35, frontage road, and as Austin SWAT officers approached, he detonated a bomb, knocking one of the officers backward and injuring him. A SWAT officer then fired at the suspect, who died inside the vehicle. It was unclear whether he died from the explosion or from the gunfire, and the suspect sustained significant injuries. So there we go. They haven't released, at least the last I checked, they hadn't released his name publicly. The suspected bomber has been identified, or the authorities haven't released it, but he has been identified as Mark Anthony Condit. Mark Anthony Condit. Police say Condit was 24, and some public records suggested he was 23. They're concerned that there's still other packages out there. So here's the thing, and I don't want to sound like the pro-gun side, the NRA side, but here's the thing. There's no guns here. These are all bombs. So that's why, first and foremost, we have to address what's happening in our country, in our world, and what is happening up here to so many people that are leading them down this path. So if that's not part of the discussion, then the gun control people, you're not about actually solving problems. You just want your agenda, which, hey, like I said, knock yourself, good luck. But you're being disingenuous. Do you really want these? Do we really want to solve this problem? Or do you just want to just get everybody's guns off the streets? If you think that'll solve everybody's problems. Speaking of bombs, right here in Spring Hill, right here in the Tampa Bay area, Spring Hill, for those of you not living in the Bay Area, is about, 20 minutes, 30 minutes north of Tampa. The Hernando County Sheriff's Office is asking people to avoid the area of Cortez and Mariner Boulevards in Spring Hill while they investigate a suspicious package near the Mariner Square Shopping Center. Let me click that real quick just to see if they have an update. To see if they've already... it's been almost 2 hours since they last updated that. So anyway, there you go. So in moments like this, is this some idiot in Hernando County who sees this going on, going, all right, well, I'm in. Here's my chance. You go build your little package and get it out there too, and make it look like you're part of a cause. I don't know. I do not know. And the political side of things, there's a lot, but I don't want to hit it all because I feel like you trap me in those moments. I don't know who you are, but I feel like I get trapped and get, and start talking about all, because it's just, there's so much drama. There's so much juiciness that's coming out of this administration that you could spend entire shows just doing nothing but talking. Which a lot of people do. But here is a stunning leak rattles Trump and his aides. One of the most startling leaks and stunning revelations of this whole administration has left President Trump and his senior staff furious and rattled. The Washington Post reports in its lead story, Trump did not follow specific warnings from his national security advisor yesterday when he congratulated Putin on his reelection. Whatever you do, Mr. President, do not congratulate him. It's not a real election. You're gonna... So, Trump did not follow specific warnings from his national security advisor when he congratulated Putin on his reelection, including a section in his briefing materials in all capital letters stating, "Do not congratulate." Why it matters. See, I'm laughing now, but I'm sure as I get through the why it matters, I'll be like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be laughing so much. Why it matters. The speed and sensitivity of the leak prompted Immediate finger-pointing within the administration as aides reeled from a leak that could only have come from a small group of people, each of whom is very trusted with sensitive national secrets. Possible motives included concern about how Trump is handling Putin, frustration by the officials about Trump ignoring their advice, or simple internal power games. So, who leaked? Who leaked and why, do you think? White House official furious about the story. This is the way Trump is. If he's doing business with you or working with you in some way, he's going to congratulate you. The official said, quote, the idea he's being soft on Russia is crap. He approved Javelin missiles to Ukraine, closed the consulate in San Francisco, approved the sanctions, but he doesn't want his personal relationship with Putin to be acrimonious. Trump's view is there's a lot of business to be done and overlapping interests, and if the relationship between the two countries is to rebuild, the line has to be through the personal, leader-to-leader level. So this is, according to them, the way Trump sees this. Yeah, well, listen, I've signed all the sanctions. We've moved into the Ukraine. We're giving them support there. We've closed down their consulate in San Francisco. But in this moment, I still feel like, you extend a hand. Congratulations on your victory there, even if Trump doesn't mean it. Now, I know that a lot of people are concerned about what seems to be his obsession with autocrats and dictators and a fascination, almost like an envy for the power that they have. I see what you see. Am I concerned as well? It's on the spectrum. It's on the list there. But in those moments, the difference between me and those who lose their shit and immediately go after the president. When I say the president, I don't necessarily mean just the president who is president now. I also mean to go back to the last president and the president before and the president before. And in those moments where you feel like you've got enough information to condemn, all of your shit goes focused right at them. They become this evil entity, and it is very clear in your brain, and you're losing your damn mind. How could somebody elect this person? So the reason I don't get like that, or if I do, it's very fleeting. You know what I mean? Like you get worked up like anybody else, but very quickly there's a governor in my head that goes, back it down, back it down, back it down. And this that is when I get focused on, not necessarily just, but like say the government or particular areas of the government or big business or big religion or anything like. There we go. It's getting all fuzzy again. But this angle, this one's just way too close. But it's at least focused. Sorry about that, guys. I know I'm way too close to the damn. That is unnerving, especially if you got me on your big screen there. That is way too unnerving. I apologize. I'll try to figure out what's going on after the show today. So the reason that I don't get overly worked up in times like these is because I'm a very curious person. And having a personality like Donald Trump in the White House right now is very fascinating to me. I do realize when I say things like that, you go, well, that's, I don't know. I don't need to say anything. So I think that the framers of this country, the founders of this country, the framers of the Constitution, this is an awesome moment, an awesome testing moment. Now, some of you go, no, you don't want to test that. You don't want to test it too much, because what if it does break? What if something happens and there's calamity, there's a collapse, and next thing you know, where America was here, it's now way at the bottom of the list, and we have no power, no say in the world, blah, 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 all that stuff happens. Well, then my thought is, well, it was bound to happen anyway. If that is the case, then the democracy that the founder set up was not as the great experiment. An experiment to me never fails. You learn stuff, but then we would learn something and we get to move on, become better and move on. Now, I personally think that I like our system. I think it can withstand some of your worst fears, okay? For those of you that think that Trump is just the worst thing that's ever happened to America, I think that our system can withstand your worst fears. For those of you that thought Obama was the Antichrist, the literal Antichrist, I think our system withstood the Antichrist. So that's where I am. That's why I don't get. I'm not going to lose my mind over what Trump is doing or not doing. Yeah, does it make me nervous sometimes? Yes, but it's like riding a roller coaster. A roller coaster makes me nervous too. But what happens at the end of the roller coaster? It's over. You get off the ride. You move on to the next ride. So I guess my worst case scenario is, which I know it can be a lot worse, but my worst case scenario is, or the most likely outcome here is we're going to get to the end of his term. And we might be going, that was some ride. But the chances are we're all still going to be here moving forward, figuring out life together. You know what I mean? So that's why I just don't get too worked up about what's going on. Although sometimes I can. Don't get me wrong, I can. I can look at this guy and go, what the hell's wrong with this guy, But in those moments, I dial it down and go, there may or may not be something wrong with this guy, but I have faith in the system that it can keep him contained if he is the worst of some people's fears. All right. Moving on to another, let's see, someone else wants to sue Donald Trump. Former Playboy model Karen McDougal, Reese, I guess she had a relationship with him and signed an agreement in 2016, a non-disclosure agreement. But I guess it was one of those things, too, where she thought she was going to be able to tell her story to the National Enquirer. But one of the things that they do in politics is friends of politicians, be it Trump or Clinton or whoever, it doesn't matter. If stories like these start to come out, they get in there quickly and they try to buy these stories and say, okay, we want your story. We want the exclusive for your story. And she goes, oh, great. Here, sign all this stuff so we can get the exclusive. So that person feels like they're getting their story out, getting some money for it in the process, and they feel good, right? They walk away. The story never comes out. And they're going, what's going on? And you go, well, we're holding on to it for right now. It's just not ready for to be released. You go, oh, wait, no. I need this story. I wanted to tell my story. Well, we just don't think it's the right time to tell. No, this is the exact time to tell my story. I want my story out now. Well, sorry, you signed something, and you're not going to be able to tell the story to anybody ever. This story is ours. It is no longer yours to tell. So this is what happened to her, I guess, and it was one of Trump's friends. The guy that the National Enquirer's parent, let's see, McDougal suing American Media Incorporated, the National Enquirer's parent company. The Enquirer's chief executive, David Pecker, is a friend of Trump's. Sorry you saw me be juvenile for 1 second. Porn star Stephanie Clifford, known as Stormy Daniels, said in a lawsuit. Well, anyway, they're trying to tell their story. They want to be able to tell their story, and we'll see how that plays out. As it stands right now, they're trying, of course, Trump's lawyers are trying to block all that, and they are trying to get it out there. Also, there's somebody else who worked on The Apprentice who is saying that he forced himself on her. And I don't think there was sex, but it was like groping and this and this and this. And she wants to be able to, I guess, get him in front of a jury or something like that, or whatever the legal terminology is. Depose? Is that right? I shouldn't even try. My wife is the lawyer, not me. So we'll see how all that plays out. A judge did recently rule that the president's not impervious to those kinds of things, as President Clinton found out. Next up is a crazy story about, how would I have it on here? Eating fried you. It probably didn't make sense the way that I worded it. Eating fried you, but that's what it is. There's this the headline: creepy cannibal chef slices flesh from people's bodies, fries it, and feeds it to them in bizarre live Facebook stream. So, of course, the headline, the clickbait, doesn't, let you know or give off any kind of feeling that or indication that it is that it's performance art. But it still happened. So, cops in Latvia are now probing Artur Benzin's show after a flurry of complaints from disgusted viewers. The 33-year-old artist staged the performance named Eschatology, ESCH, on March 6th at a posh museum in capital Riga. Stomach-churning footage shows him putting on a white forensic suit before approaching two assistants with a scalpel. He then cuts a chunk of meat from each of their backs without anesthetic, frying it in a large black pan right in front of them. Then he forces each assistant to stand before dropping the fried flesh into their mouths. Authorities couldn't do anything. They couldn't find anything illegal. So, why do you think this performance artist is doing what he's doing? Why do you think this performance artist is doing what he's doing? Any ideas? What point he's trying to make? Oh, here we go. The show explores what would happen to humanity if global food stocks ran out. It suggests that people resort to cannibalism in the face of extinction. I'm not sophisticated enough to get that kind of art. Next. Lastly, we'll end on something positive. Mark Zuckerberg branded early Facebook users as dumb Fs for sharing their data with him. F stands for fuck, by the way. This week, the Cambridge Analytica scandal has thrown a harsh light on how Facebook uses the data its billions of users share with it. And an early conversation with Mark Zuckerberg shows that the CEO himself was at one point confused by why people would share so much information with him. Dating from the early years of the century when Facebook had just 4,000 users, the conversation was highlighted this week in a Medium post by Maria Bustillos entitled The Smallness of Mark Zuckerberg. It's from messaging records dating from when he was 19 and was first leaked to the media in 2010. Zuckerberg, yeah. So if you ever need info about anyone at Harvard, just ask. I have over 4,000 emails, pictures, addresses, SMS. Friend, what? How'd you manage that one? Zuckerberg, people just submitted it. I don't know why. They trust me. Dumb fucks. All right, I gotta go. Hold, please. So, how did you manage that? How is it that you got 4,000 people at Harvard? Are they dumb fucks? The 4,000 people you initially got their emails, pictures, address, they're dumb fucks? Or is there something else at play? Is there something else more human, a little bit deeper? And it doesn't matter how big your IQ is. In these moments, Mr. Zuckerberg, you're still a dumb fuck like everybody else. Because it wasn't 4,000 undereducated, malnourished, inner city, third world country, dumb fucks that you got all this information from. It was 4,000 extremely intelligent, driven people who ended up at Harvard. So maybe they're not dumb fucks. Maybe there's something about us humans that make it so easy to get this information out of us as long as you offer something, whatever it was, whatever the psychological need was you filled with Facebook. It was so powerful that it turned everybody into a dumb fuck. That is it. That is it for the Wake.Show today. I'm glad I ended on a high note. Thank you so much for being here. Tonight, if you guys need to get some, let me run through some comments again before I go. And then tonight, if you're in St. Pete, I will be downtown every Wednesday night doing karaoke from 8 until midnight. Got trivia on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This coming Thursday at Masteries, Blind Pass, St. Pete Beach. And Wednesday nights, tonight, karaoke 8 to midnight. Come on out. Randy. Prayers for my former home, Austin. Never seen a U.S. president kiss KGB ass. That is true. Reagan would have jumped Putin's ass in a heartbeat. You're probably right. You said pecker, ha ha ha. We are already a great nation. All right. Okay, holy shit, that's fucked up. Someone has been watching too much Walking Dead. Thanks, Chris. Have fun as always. Thank you so much as always. I really appreciate it. The Wake.Show, Monday through Friday, 11:11 to 12:12, 11:11 to 12:12-ish. I'm going to work on this other camera here and it looks fine now. But something's obviously going in it, so we'll get that fixed hopefully before next time. Have a great day. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.